Picture this. First day of winter in a Japanese elementary school. It is 7 a.m. The temperature outside is just above freezing. And every single child in that school, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, is standing in the courtyard in a short-sleeved shirt. No coat, no gloves, no complaint. Their teachers are watching. Their parents arranged this. And in the West, if you saw this photograph, you would probably report it. But here is what's fascinating. These children are not being punished. They are not being hardened. They are participating in one of the most quietly radical educational philosophies on the planet. One that developmental psychologists are only now beginning to fully understand. And by the end of this video, you will see why what looks like cruelty from the outside is actually one of the most loving things a school system can do for a child's developing brain. Stay with me, because there are 3 things happening inside that cold courtyard that change children at a neurological level. And at least one of them you can start at home tonight. Let's start with the rule itself. In thousands of Japanese elementary schools, there is a practice called Kangeiko. Translated literally, it means winter training. Children attend school in minimal clothing during the coldest weeks of the year. They exercise outdoors in near freezing temperatures. They do not complain. They do not ask to go inside. And their parents, who love them deeply, who would do anything for them, drop them off anyway. To Western eyes, this looks like the school is being cruel. To Japanese parents, the school is doing something they cannot easily do at home. It is teaching children the most important lesson that no classroom subject can teach. That discomfort is survivable. That the body can be trusted. That the mind is stronger than the moment. This is not a fringe practice. It is not an outlier school. Versions of this philosophy exist across the Japanese education system in different forms: cold water washing, barefoot running, carrying heavy loads up hills. All of it pointing toward the same intention. Not to toughen children through suffering, but to build in them an unshakable neurological baseline that says, I have been uncomfortable before. I came through it. I will come through this too. Here is where the science becomes extraordinary. Researchers studying stress inoculation, the deliberate, controlled exposure to manageable physical or emotional discomfort, have found consistent results across decades of study. Children who are regularly exposed to manageable difficulty, physical or emotional, develop what neuroscientists call a more regulated HPA axis. The HPA axis is the brain's stress response system. It is the biological machinery that determines how your child reacts when things go wrong, whether they collapse, freeze, or move through it. In children who have never been allowed to experience discomfort, the HPA axis is essentially untrained. The first significant stressor, a difficult exam, a social rejection, a failure, hits the nervous system like a truck hitting an unprepared body. The response is disproportionate because the system has no reference point, no memory of having survived something hard. In children who have been regularly, safely, controllably uncomfortable, who have stood in a cold courtyard and breathed through it, who have carried something heavy and not been rescued, the HPA axis has been trained. It has a library of evidence. Evidence that says, this feels bad. It is not dangerous. Keep going. Japanese educators understood this not through neuroscience, but through centuries of observation. They watched what happened to children who were protected from every discomfort. And they built a school system that deliberately, lovingly refused to offer that protection. Now, the second thing happening inside that courtyard is less visible. And in many ways, it is more important. It is happening between the children. In Japan, the concept of Shudan Saikatsu group living is central to how schools are designed. Japanese children do almost nothing alone. They clean their classrooms together. They serve each other lunch. They solve problems as a unit. And when they stand in the cold courtyard together, they are not just building individual resilience. They are building something that developmental psychologists call collective efficacy, the deep, cellular knowledge that I am not alone in difficulty, that the person beside me is going through what I am going through, that we are surviving this together. Research from Stanford Center for Education Policy Analysis found that children who develop strong collective efficacy in early schooling show significantly lower rates of anxiety and depression in adolescence, not because their lives are easier, but because their nervous systems are wired for the experience of shared difficulty rather than isolated suffering. Western education has moved almost entirely in the opposite direction. We have individualized everything. Individual desks, individual grades, individual achievements celebrated, individual failures managed privately. And we have inadvertently produced a generation of children who experience difficulty as a uniquely personal problem, something happening to them, not with them. Japanese children standing in a cold courtyard together are learning something that no individual achievement can teach. That hardship is a shared human experience, and that is profoundly protective. The third thing happening in that courtyard is the most counterintuitive of all. Nothing is being said. There is no teacher narrating the lesson. No motivational speech about resilience. No explanation of why this is good for them. The children simply stand. They breathe. They endure. And they know, because their culture has always known, that some things are learned only through the body, not through explanation. In developmental psychology, this is called embodied cognition, the understanding that certain forms of knowledge can only be encoded through physical experience. You cannot explain to a child what it feels like to push through discomfort and come out the other side. You cannot lecture a nervous system into resilience. It has to be lived. It has to be felt. The body has to accumulate its own evidence. Japanese schools build this evidence deliberately. Every cold morning is a deposit. Every difficult physical moment is a message sent directly to the nervous system, bypassing language entirely. The message is simple. You are stronger than this feeling. And the child doesn't believe it because a teacher said so. They believe it because their own body proved it. Now, I want to be direct with you, because some of what I've described sounds extreme. And I am not suggesting you send your child to school in a t-shirt in January. But here is what this means practically. The principle behind Kangeiko is not cold temperatures. The principle is controlled, safe, manageable discomfort experienced without rescue. And that principle is completely available to every parent, in every climate, starting tonight. Let your child walk to school in light rain without an umbrella one morning. Let them carry a bag that is slightly heavier than comfortable. Let them finish a task they are struggling with before you step in. Let dinner be a food they find difficult. Let bedtime be slightly later than they want on a night when they need to practice tolerating tired. None of these things are cruel. All of these things are deposits. Each one says to the nervous system, you have been here before. You came through. You will come through again. That accumulation, that quiet library of survived discomfort, is what Japanese schools are building one cold morning at a time. And here is what I want you to leave with today. The most resilient children on earth are not the ones who had the easiest childhoods. They are the ones whose parents and schools trusted them enough to let them be uncomfortable, who understood that protection and preparation are not the same thing, who knew that the greatest gift you can give a child is not a life without difficulty, but a nervous system that knows how to meet it. Kangeiko is not a school rule. It is a declaration of belief. We believe you are capable. We believe you can handle this. We believe in you enough to let it be hard. That belief, practiced daily, quietly, without drama, is what produces the most resilient kids on earth. If this video changed the way you think about your child's relationship with difficulty, share it with one parent who needs to hear it. Subscribe. Every week we go deep into the real psychology of how the world's greatest cultures raise children built to last. See you in the next one.